It's Mukbang Monday today, and we're your hosts, Summer,
AJ!
Jenna, Sammy, and we have our guest today, Chester.
Yay! welcome!
Okay, and today we have our food from Aloha Grill, the Culinary 125 class, Fundamentals of Cookery too, hosts the grill mid-semester, and we have a bunch of food from them today. So thank you to the Culinary class. We have a panini, a clubhouse like BLT, a flatbread, salad that we will touch later.
All of us got meats first.
Yeah. And then there was a cow beef plate as well, and some French fries. Yeah,
Calbee fries. Yeah.
cow beef fries.
So it's like egg and cow. Oh my god. Ooh.
So then let's go ahead and dig in. And to get us started, our topic today is men's behavior towards one another and other groups. So that's like women, family, etc. We're going down the whole rabbit hole. Toxic masculinity is a narrow and repressive set of traditionally male behaviors that are harmful to men and societies. Males are portrayed as like you have to be a man and be aggressive, and you have to be on top, you have to be competitive, and you have to be the one that has it all. And also you suppress your emotions, like you can't exhibit that you're sad or upset about anything, and you often hear the phrase like man up or do with it like a man. And I think that we hear that a lot like growing up. Even as women, we hear like be a man. We're like, what? What's wrong with being myself, you know? And so like I feel like it gets really confusing, and all of that seeps into everyone around us.
Yeah, I think it's just there's so many layers to like toxic masculinity. I feel like there's one instance I feel like in particular that's really interesting to explore is you got to be your breadwinner and stuff, and like it's gonna go towards like the relationship wise, like having that like lockdown life, but then there's also those people that are like, it's a little touchy, but like when guys are with a lot of girls or something. So with men in like different contexts and groups, it just that sense of masculinity and that dichotomy of, oh, you have to be loyal, but oh, it's really cool to be like with a bunch of people and do all this cool stuff. And it really boxes a lot of people into one thing. That's not viable. People are all different. Just because you pick one small group and everyone thinks that's the idolization, that it's incredibly harmful to the person that wants to be that, the person that maybe even is that, they think they have to stay on top. Habits and behaviors that come out of it, they hurt everyone around them. They don't like when you say, would you talk to your mom like that? That's because I think that this behavior, you wouldn't bring it to your family. They're like different with their friends or with like in relationships, and then they come home and they're like not gonna say that same stuff. Because they know that these ideals aren't something you would want to bring home to family. I mean, we're talking about how masculinity affects people, but I don't want to talk on it because it's hard. It's hard. And you have to have that compassion because even though it hurts people, you have to realize it comes from a place of hurt for themselves.
I feel like it's also similar to being for doing too much, even though you're getting too little. So you're trying to get everything for yourself, but at the same time, you're not getting anything at all. Let's say you're going groceries, right? You're buying all these things, but in reality, you're just gonna use like 3 or 4 items in general, and they're just gonna be trash. You could be doing this, doing this, doing that, doing that. And then at the end of the day, you're just like a hollow shell because you're like trying to live up to stuff that people think you should be. It's more of the macro thinking than micro. Most men try to be people pleasers to appeal to other people, like other men, other women, because they feel like if they don't, nobody's really gonna want them.
I think a lot of that comes from like generational influence. So your dad tells you like, oh, like you need to be the breadwinner, you need to be the man of the house, you know. That gets stuck in your mind, and it's really harmful because then the son's gonna pass it down to his son, and then that son's gonna pass it down to his son, and then it's just this harmful view of how men should be.
Like, when does it end?
Toxic masculinity doesn't apply only to men. They're victims of the society that has built this concept. They have built this bar and this standard that they're enforcing on you, and they're feeling the need to conform. We're not just targeting men. It's
No.
everybody. It's everyone.
Because I think like we're bringing up a bunch of people that contribute to it. You know, we say men contribute to these ideals for other men. That women also say stuff too.
Yeah.
Why are you being so sensitive or something? But that's such like a Greek flag thing, you know? You want to encourage these things. But from my theory is that like women see other men that embody that, and that sense of masculinity is passed in there and put through again through another man. So it doesn't have to be man to man. It can be woman to man. It can be father to child. It can be literally almost anyone. Like even in contexts of like jobs, sports, etc. All of these are breeding grounds for an ideal of how to be as a man.
Is it like a thing where it's like they're insecure maybe because they've been told they need to be something when they really don't want to be?
Mhm.
So then they're like taking it out on
Exactly.
other people.
This isn't something that is necessarily you're born with. This is something that's taught. It was passed down. It's a concept that I feel like for a lot of people is pushed onto them, and then it becomes internalized. I don't think anyone is born. No one is born racist. No one is born with toxic masculinity running through their veins. You know, no one is born with hate. It's always taught. It's like you're a seed and you're being watered with certain, you know, you're given certain nutrients. You're only receiving certain sunlight, and that's going to shape how you end up. And it's this kind of nature versus nurture, where I think nurture plays a big role into it. It affects you. It's going to affect you. And yeah, toxic masculinity is definitely one of those things where either from society or from like maybe other role models in your life, like men or women, portraying these ideologies to you, that's something that you begin to internalize after a while.
That feeds really well into like queer relationships as well. So when we're talking about like masculine like ideals from man to man, this is actually very prevalent in the queer community, LGBT community as well. There is so many different things. Where do I start? There is like literally there is first of all there's that ideal of how to look, you know. There's that the body image. The body image is first. So immediately off rip, if you don't look a certain way, you don't act a certain way. And this is where you bring in the terms mask and femme a lot more too in the queer community as well. You know, the like, oh, mask for mask or no femmes or that kind of stuff. And it's just a small part of how like men to men just it influences so much part of the life. Everyone goes through these things. Like everyone has these ideals. And when it comes in male dominated communities, it is so strong. It's unbearable, and it hurts a lot of things. It hurts mental health states, it hurts relationships, and it makes like talking to people almost impossible if you don't have the right if you don't act the right way, if you're not a man, if you don't do this certain thing as a man. Like even within the community of of the queer community, the definition of masculinity is somehow different from person to person. For some people, it's like, oh yeah, I lift weights and go to the gym. For other people, it's just don't have a high voice or something, you know, and that's fine.
I think that's where competition comes in because since usually people want to be better than everyone else, so they find like they'll nitpick on everything you do just to make them look better. Let's say this guy lifts weights and this guy lifts weights. I lift this weight. Like they're just trying to one up everybody. Like it's similar to how, well, scientifically how bullies work. They want to vent out the thing that they're keeping in on someone else that's inferior to them. So that's why I think that always happens. Like competitiveness, not in a good way, because there's always good competitiveness, but there's also like bad ones.
When I was doing research for this video, I forgot what it was called, but it's just an innate thing in like men to be competitive because it was always like that to get like a good mate. part of that might just be in you, like honestly.
Yeah.
Like I know we said it's not like you're not born with it, but to some degree,
Yeah.
I think you are.
I think that ties into what Sabbath is saying, nature versus nurture. There are so many factors of who you're around or what's maybe like, biologically internally in you. It just depends on how you go about it.
Yeah, I think it's still up to the person if they're gonna embrace the ideals of toxic masculinity or not, because everyone has their free will. It's not always like follow this, follow that. You're just yes sir, like a soldier, You still have free will. You're not like a pet. You're like go fetch. Like
Yeah.
everyone has their own mind. There's a reason it's there, so everyone should use it.
And I think like since we're talking about toxic masculinity, there are healthy aspects of like what has been a gender norm for masculinity in general. So like if you're a protector, it's okay, like yeah, like taking care of your family or looking after your brother or looking after your friends, that's a great thing. And it doesn't have to be just inherently male. It's just being a good person.
Because I want to say that we need to address that, yes, that this does happen, but there are instances of people fighting back against that. And I think I just want to point out that, yeah, it's not all like this. You can express a masculine identity if you like, but you're also exposed to other identities, femininity, etc. These are things that introduce your life and they're accepted and they're learned. I feel like when you contrast it against the toxic like versions we've seen are like these very narrow-minded, it's very one track. But when you open your mind and you take in experiences from other things, I think we're teaching new generations how to be better about that. And I think that should be commended.
Yeah, there's more awareness around it, and I also think that's an excellent segue. Masculinity inherently, I would say, isn't toxic, which is why this is a specific title, Toxic Masculinity, because there's going to be a balance of femininity and masculinity, and that's okay, and I think we need to normalize that.
Competitiveness goes hard on men who play video games. Genuinely. I think there's some accountability to it too. Like people refuse to accept that they're wrong sometimes. So accountability has been a great issue. It's always blame others, not me.
I think it's important to bring it back and like think about everything we've talked about, how to navigate all these different kind of interactions. Like in this instance, we just need to start from understanding one another. We talk about understanding and communication a lot, but it's not just because we're repeating the same thing, it's because that's such a big basis. The supportiveness of sharing these kinds of experiences with one another, just to come together as a community, not a pyramid, a circle. A pyramid circle,
I feel like now we're in a good place in society where we can kind of progress towards equality, care, and we're finally focusing or taking it more seriously with mental health.
Yeah, understanding just context, everything you're talking about, these understandings. There's so much to it, just discounting it as one thing is kind of unfair. We talked about generational, and talked about, femininity, masculinity, men, women, queer communities. There's a lot. And it's a lot to take in, but just take a breath, take that lessons and understandings that we learn from each other, and we can really support each other.
Okay, so that was the end of our topic today. I hope it was interesting to you. And we want to do a quick shout out again to Culinary 125. Thank you so much for the food. It was delicious. I think my favorite was also the panini.
The chicken panini, the pesto. Oh, so good. I devoured.
Yeah, automatic 10. I love pesto. It was like not dry either, so it's like, what do you think?
I like the kalbi, but I love kalbi, so I'm a little biased.
I know the Calbee fries are really good.
I went all in on the kalbi fries, just that it just got vacuumed out of my plate.
And yeah, we want to thank Bright Sky for sponsoring us to get our food for our Mukbang Monday today. And also make sure to check out our Spotify. We will be uploading there as well. Check our Love Pono website for more information, our Instagram, and our YouTube. Also make sure to check our Instagram for our Google form after you finish this Spotify video, whatever you're listening to us on. One more thing, we are also having a Harvesting Good Vibes. I'm not sure if you folks have seen any banners around or in the newsletter, but we're having a DV awareness event on the concourse over here at Leeward Pu'uloa campus, November 20th. So be happy to see you there.
Yeah. This has been AJ.
Summer,
Jenna.
Abby.
and our guest speaker.
Chester.
Yay! Bye.
Bye.
See y'all later.